Welcome back to Work It Out Sweat Therapy with Emily, yours truly, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different. Now, we're going to work out a lot of things today, but it's going to be while I roll out. So if you have a foam roller, now is a great time to grab it so that you can roll on out with me while we talk all about body image. If you don't have a foam roller, I highly suggest you get one. This one is one of my favorites with the little nubbies in it. Don't know if nubbies is a technical term, but it's what we're going to go with. Foam rolling daily is honestly so beneficial. I do it every single day. Sometimes I do it before my workout. Sometimes I do it in the morning when I wake up. Regardless, it helps with so many things. If you're sore from a workout, it's going to help flush out, get new blood in, get rid of that soreness. It's going to help with any tight areas that you feel like you have. Not to replace stretching, it's just to use an accessory too. I like to roll before I stretch as well. And it's going to help break up some of that fascia that likes to get stuck onto itself. So if you're not a foam roller, let this be me convincing you to become one. So I wanted to do this episode because I feel like body image comes up a lot in my line of work, and it's something that I work with my clients on. It's so important to me to talk about it and to work with them on it, because I do believe that one of the things that I am here to serve others in is to just help them see themselves in a way that they can love themselves. So working out in the gym and transformation, my favorite line, and it's my line of the Transformation Club, is transformation is not about changing yourself, it's becoming more of yourself. And I think just in general as humans, we can be really hard on ourselves. So if we do the work, the mental work, how we view ourselves is a big part of how we love ourselves. So I'm very passionate about it. I really hope this video can help you. So if you're someone who has struggled with body image, if it has come up in different seasons of your life, know you're human, that's normal, but also know you can do something about it. And I hope that this explanation that I'm about to go into can change your perspective. So the first way I really want to tackle body image with you is to break down what vision is, like the actual science of it. I think a lot of the times when we're in our head, if we can distinguish what is reality and logic, it can help us kind of fight some of those negative thoughts or thought patterns that we have about ourselves. Also, I just really come from the belief of if you understand your body and your mind on a scientific level, then it gives you the power and it helps you understand the power that you have over your body and your mind. And that's a beautiful thing, because we're all born with that ability, that tool set. We just sometimes have to get retaught it because it's innately in us. We are innately designed to be in touch and connected with our bodies and our mind. Just over our lifetime, the society we live in, it takes us really far away from that, right? It takes us far away from ourselves and not understanding ourselves. If you take that time to really understand how you tick and understand how you work, like this thing right here and this right here, and I personally think it can really help with a lot of things. First thing I want you to understand about vision is all perception. So what that means is there's a lot of factors that go into perception or to perceiving that are not always going to be the same. Very simple explanation. Light hits our retina and our eye, and that sends a nerve signal which goes to our brain, and our brain interprets the nerve signal. The nerve is sending that signal based upon the amount of light that is hitting the retina. I want you to think of nerve signals as text messages. So light hits your retina, and then the nerve sends a text message to your brain based off that. Your brain then reads the text message. And I know we have all been on the receiving end of a text message that was perhaps meant a certain way, but you perceived it different. For example, maybe it is someone that you had a little bit of tension with, whether it's your partner, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friend. So you're already a little bit on the edge, and they sent a text message of, have you eaten tonight? They might have sent the text message like, oh, have you eaten tonight? You might have read the text message like, oh, have you eaten tonight? Those are two different perceptions, but it was from the same text message. So again, going back to vision, the way that you perceive an image is all based off the amount of light that's reflected off that image, and therefore how your brain perceives it. What this boils down to is you can have a skewed perception based off interpretation. And this is very important. I want you to put a bookmark on that exact line, because we're coming back to that in regards to body image. You can have a skewed perception based upon interpretation. The brain is the one interpreting the message, right? So we're going to now take that statement and relate it back to body image. How you interpret, how you look, right? How you take the perception of the image and your brain interprets it. That can be skewed. the interpretation. And we're gonna go over what can skew your interpretation on yourself. So how our brain interprets things can be highly influenced by factors such as conditioning or expectation. Conditioning tends to happen over repeated experiences. Like, it is what we have made ourselves used to. Conditioning can help us or hurt us. We can condition ourselves to get used to certain temperatures and not feel as cold. Or there's stuff like trauma that can condition us to stuff that we should not be conditioned to. And expectation can highly influence the brain. If we expect to see something, it's more likely we're gonna make it that we see it. That's literally how magic tricks work. Let's say conditioning. Let's say you're a little kid and you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you go, I hate myself, I look fat. Okay? And then you do it over and over again. Every time you go in the mirror. When you're a teenager, same thing. Even more. You're saying it with even more hate. You look at yourself, you hate the way you look. And then you become an adult. You've conditioned yourself to every time you look in the mirror, you hate the way that you look. Even if you've made all these changes, you changed your hair and you changed your wardrobe and you started working out and you started eating clean. You are gonna look in the mirror. You've conditioned yourself to see yourself in that light. Take trauma. Maybe when you were growing up, someone said that to you. Maybe it wasn't even you that said it. Maybe someone said that to you. And maybe it can come in different forms. It could have been a parent or a family member that said, have you ever thought about losing weight? Have you thought about working out? Or, ooh, maybe don't wear that, that's for skinny girls. Any comments like that, even said once, but in light of, or in talking about conditioning, repeatedly being exposed to those mentalities, because that's a mentality, right? That's someone else's perception, that's someone else's insecurity, to be really real, if we want to break it down, but that'll be for another episode. And you are conditioned to hear it, so you expect it, and you're conditioned to then look at yourself in that way. So as time passes and the more you condition to it, the stronger it gets, right? The more real it feels, even if it's not real. Because to go even deeper, which again, I think I will say for another episode, what is beauty standards and what is considered attractive and aesthetic and admirable is again all perception, right? It's all perception. So comments like that are, it's someone's perception measured up against societal perception. That leads us to expectation. And now in the time we live in, whoa, is expectation at an all-time high. Thanks to social media. Shout out to social media, it's how you're watching this, we love it for that, but shout out to the downside of it, which is that we are every day bombarded. Even if you are a very conscious individual on social media, it is unavoidable to at least be exposed a little to a certain degree of expectations. So I'm gonna speak from a POV of being a 33-year-old woman, right? So there's the expectation of how I should look at my age. There's expectation of what you should be doing as a 33-year-old or as a woman on a career path. There's an expectation that you have a certain amount of time to start your family. There's an expectation of what you should buy and wear, and an expectation how you should act, an expectation how you should post on social media. There's an expectation level for everything because it's right in front of us, overloaded on us every single day. So when it comes to body image and how we look at ourselves, well, there's expectation being shoved down our throats, right? To a point where, again, even if you're consciously not identifying with it or not claiming that energy, it's subconsciously affecting you, because it's impossible not to unless you really actively combat it with what I'm talking about today. So with the breaking it down into logic and breaking it down into no, I do love myself. I do love the way I look. I do. And you have to battle it with that good shit. Okay. And we're going to talk about that. But expectation is, again, like I said, it's how magicians get magic tricks to work. They expect you to see something, and so you do. The biggest magic trick that exists, it's social media. It is 100% the biggest Houdini act of our lifetime. How you have to override conditioning, expectation, all of it, so that your brain actually interprets you correctly. And when I say correctly, meaning with such overflowing love for yourself and how you look and feel and live and show up in your body and in this lifetime every single day. It takes handling that conditioning and then rewriting your conditioning. So just like something can condition you negatively over time, with proper intentional work, again, shout out to therapy, you can rewrite and recondition yourself in a positive way. So that is one of the greatest tools. Like, we are not in a prison sentence to what has previously happened to us. What is previously said to us, happened to us, or a thought process that we instilled in ourselves can 1000% at any time be rewritten. You are not, that is not in ink, dried, can't change it. That, in fact, has built things in you. Like, everything that's happened to us has built us and brought us here, but you can rewrite that anytime. So I want you to know that, and I want you to know you're capable of that. Then in terms of the expectation side of things affecting how your brain interprets, I highly suggest that you have a countering affirmation every single time you feel like you see something that places an expectation. So again, with the example of social media, you're scrolling, you catch yourself comparing and being like, oh, okay, wow, but she looks this way, so I counter it right there in that moment. Don't even let it settle in. Don't give it more than a second. Let it pass in, let it pass out, and then counter the affirmation with, wow, I love how authentic I am to myself, and there's not a single human being on this planet that is me, that walks like me, talks like me, looks like me, feels like me, loves like me, acts like me, breathes like me, shows up like me. And counter it. Don't ever let that settle in here, because that is not yours. And then that will 100% change how you interpret things. It's really funny because this week when I was on TikTok, there's this like filter going around that became a trend where I think it's called like bold and glamour or something like that. And it made, everyone's freaking out over it. It's going viral because it's making people look, I guess, the most realistically, compared to the other filters, aesthetically admirable or attractive, whatever the ideal is again. And people are putting it on and being like, oh, whoever made this, like, curse you, because now I want to look like this. And that's crazy to me, because again, if that filter didn't exist and the person never saw it seamlessly, like that mask put on their face, they would never think that. They now have a new perception that never existed until they put that filter on their face. So really, like, take a moment to digest that. And if you are someone, I mean, I put it on as a joke and I'm like, literally, I love myself, and this took a lot of years of work, okay? I'm 33 and this was a lot of hard work, and I'm not perfect. I have a long way to go. That's life, right? We're constantly working on ourselves. But I so deeply and unapologetically love myself on every level, that right down to my cells, that when I put the filter on, I laughed and I was like, I look like shit with this on. Like, I actually look horrible. And that's because I don't want to look any other way but like me. I don't want a mask on. That to me is unattractive. And I truly want so badly, and I will do it with every means that I know how, whether it's, you know, training people here in the gym or this content I'm putting on social media. I want everyone to feel that. I want everyone to have such an unconditional love for themselves that the filter that's supposed to make them look better makes them laugh and say, that's what? It was that person. No, I am so much better with it. The thing that I want to say about all this, I love how I actually stopped foam rolling. This is important. This is important. I'm going to sit here and say it. But keep foam rolling. The last thing I really want to say about all this is, again, from a science perspective, I want you to understand this, because this really changed how I viewed things. You will actually, in your entire lifetime, never really technically see what you look like, for real. And what I mean by that is, we will never see from the POV of someone standing and looking at us. Like, let's say there's someone facing me right now and they're looking at me and I'm looking at them. We'll never be able to see what each other sees in each other. And that's because in our lifetime, the only time that we ever going to see the image of ourselves is from photos, like what a camera can capture, what a lens can capture, and a mirror. And both of those things are images being captured that we're then looking at and perceiving, versus having someone right here in front of us, not a reflection image, right? So not a reflection, not what a lens is reflecting and capturing. Really like take a second. That's like some major shit right there to like take in. You're never actually gonna see what you really look like. And I'm saying that to say, you ever take a picture, you look in the mirror maybe and you're like, ooh, I look good today, and you take a picture and you're like, woo, no, wow, I thought not a good day. That's because in that photo, there's so many things dependent upon that moment. There's the light, again, light, right? We talked about this. There's the angle. There's the depth perception. There's so many factors that are involved in the lens picking up that image and then you perceiving it, right? Just like here, this is a mirror image. So I'm seeing a mirrored image of myself, not what I actually look like, right? Things are reversed in a mirror, right? So that changed how we interpret. Like, does it ever trip you out, like in a mirror, like, I don't know, you go to like fix a hair that's out of place and you're like, oh, wait, oh, it's over here, right? It's hard to locate because it's a mirrored image. I'm saying all of it to say, you don't actually know how beautiful you are. You have no idea what you are gracing other people's eyes with when they get to see you. And I think that's both like a very like eye-opening thing and such a beautiful thing, because we are getting to see each other's beauty, honestly, more than sometimes we allow ourselves to see in ourselves. I want you to move forward with the mentality of looking at yourself like a stranger gets to see you. Like someone gets to see you with their own eyes looking at you in all your beauty. So screw the photos, screw social media, screw the mirror. You know, if a mirror is warped a little bit, that also changes your image. Think of like your reflection in a pond, right? And then you throw a rock in the pond, your image is gonna change. It depends how it's even hung on the wall. There's so many factors. And if you're basing your soul, your worth, and your value upon if somebody hung the mirror right, absolutely crazy. So I really hope this helps you. Replay it any day that you are really hard on yourself and you're not loving the way you look or what you see, because I promise how you feel, how you look is a reflection of how you feel. So if you work on this stuff, you're gonna glow. You're gonna absolutely glow. And there's not a single human being that looks like you or is you, and that is incredible. Hold that closely. Hold that value closely. Walk through this world with that energy, because you are absolutely beautiful.